Hi, beautiful people. I am so happy to see you again. Well, I am saying I'm so happy to see you again, but I would rather talk about the current situation on Earth, But I thought if I wanted to talk about that, I have to dig into the root and we should actually clarify certain situations and certain misunderstandings uh, around our origin and who lives on earth and what is this life all about. So that's what we are going to talk about today. Well, let us start with the universe because it is important that, as you know, the universe is an interrelated laws of physics and mathematics. It is a great matrix. I know everybody is teaching you that you have to step out of the matrix and escape the matrix and whatever. Yes, there are smaller matrices you might want to escape because they just swallow you up. But the great matrix of the universe that is ever expanding and always in motion, you cannot escape because you are part of it. There is no place to escape, So you have to live in it, you have to understand how it works, and you have to stay in it. And that is very important.
Could you talk us through of the benefits of understanding that?
Oh, you mean if you understand the interrelations of energies?
Yes. So
Sure,
how
sure.
would that improve our lives?
Well, first of all, because if you understand the interrelations of energies and the laws of physics in everything, then you would understand yourself, first of all, and you would understand all the events in your life, how they interrelate, how to deal with them, what to expect, and how you can remedy situations in your life. It is very important. Also, of course, it would be very important from the understanding point of view that you are a human being and a human being is capable of doing certain things within these interrelations of energies and how to deal with, of course, how to deal with nature, how can you um, uh, connect yourself with earth, why do you have to do that, and everything else around you. I mean, it is an extraordinary web that actually has the same basic DNA in everything in the universe, and we are part of it. If we wanted to know about ourselves, life, or anything happening to us, we need to know that. Does it answer your question, my love?
Of course. So here starts the journey, right?
Yes, excellent. So that's the idea. Now we understand that everything is interrelated. The other understanding we have to embrace is that everything is physics, as I was saying, so everything is energy. And this energy, everything has 5 basic characteristics. That these 5 basic characteristics are color, substance, smell, taste, sound, and of course, apart from that, everything has frequency, speed. So that is also part of it from the physical point of view. This characteristic makes up the energy mass. I call this characteristic or the bundle of characteristics, I call it the knowledge of the specific energy. It can be organic or non-organic. I mean, every energy was organic at one point, and human beings messed it up and they just sort of killed it. But it still moves, it still has characteristics, but not as good or not as noticeable as actually the organic energies do.
Am I correct to assume that organic energies are able to heal themselves, and that's the main characteristic that sets them apart from unorganic ones?
In one way or another, yes. Well, if you look at a tree, let's say, okay, you cut up a branch from a tree, the tree is not going to die. It heals the wound and just goes on with living, of course. If you cut your fingers, obviously you are going to heal, and all the animals also. So organic energies have the capability of healing themselves because of obviously the specific characteristics are sort of, and the speed are sort of giving it an understanding and giving it an impulse to complete whatever is missing. So it always comes back. Yes, that is true. So human beings are organic energies, and I'm sure it was obvious. And also what we need to understand that human beings are complex creatures. I know there are two very important and interesting views how human beings being created. One is the dogmatic fairy tale of Christianity, saying that there was Adam, and Adam created Eve from the backbone and whatever it was. But I mean, guys, you really need to push this one aside because it is not really tangible in any way whatsoever. And there is Darwin, of course, who said that human beings evolved from the mammals, so from the animal kingdom. And yes, he is better. I mean, he is right in one way or another. Because the physical body of a human being comes from the actual evolution of organic energies on Earth, with the added soul blended with the physical body. So that is a human being. A human being is a blend of the physical body and a soul. This way, the human being represents Earth with the physical body and represents the universe with the soul. These
I think,
oh,
sorry, darling.
Then I just have to say one more sentence. That's how they represent the micro and the microcosm. Yeah, tell me.
Well, I'm just thinking that soul is such a term that we use very often, almost carelessly, I might say, and we just assume that everyone understands it. But do we really know what a soul is?
Well, I'm almost certain we don't, or we usually. I call the soul a knowledge that is able to multiply by division. I know it is a mouthful because what do we mean by multiplying by division and whatever? I cannot really get into it very much. Otherwise, I would talk about it forever. And we need to talk about many other things today. So I am just saying that the knowledge is the characteristics. These characteristics I talked about, the sound, the frequency, the taste, the smell, and everything else. that makes up the actual energy. And you know, I mean, many people talk about the auras and they read the auras and whatever, and they hear the auras and God knows what they do with it. Yes, it is possible. But then again, everybody is capable of seeing certain things, but your seeing abilities are mirroring your emotional and mental intelligence. So if you are on a high level of emotional and mental intelligence, then your boundaries are open. And because of that, you see far more than somebody who is narrow-minded and who doesn't understand or who doesn't want to understand, because he stops expanding the comfort zone. So that's the idea about it. And you know, I call it knowledge because if you look at somebody's aura, then you are able to tell everything about that person. If you are a good reader, mind you. If you are not a good reader, obviously not. But you can learn it as everybody else can learn it. So it is possible.
But I think it's certainly an important point that you mentioned, that the soul ties us to the macrocosm. That's very important, I would say. Maybe gives a bit of a frame for the thought.
Yes, the idea is that the microcosm is the comfort zone. Everybody has a comfort zone, even the people whose comfort zone is very, very expanded, because there is an end to it, even though the end is always expanding, just like the universe. We say universe is endless. No, it's not endless. It has an end, but it expands all the time, and it never stops because of the movement in. And this motion is actually keeping us alive and organic energy is alive, and all the molecules and energies together, you know, and the structure of the whole lot is important because of the motion within the universe. So the macrocosm is important because knowledge comes to us from the macrocosm. And that is the great difference between animals and vegetation, of course, and the human being, because we have all the knowledge in our cells. We have all the knowledge in ourselves because the soul has all the knowledge in ourselves. And when the physical body let the soul come in and they blend into a human being, this knowledge would spread all over the body, of course, and triggers the mind from time to time. And then sort of intuition sets in, and then, of course, we can sort of remember things from our past. I mean, from the past of the soul, obviously. And then we would be able to carry on with our lives really nicely. So it is very important to have the macrocosm with us. Without the macrocosm, we would only be animals. I am not sort of debasing the importance of animals in any way whatsoever, but in the evolutionary ladder, the animals are a bit sort of behind, mostly because they don't have a mind. They have a brain, but that is not the same as the mind of a human being. So that is very important. Apart from that, of course, there are many, many sort of people, but let us call them people, yeah, walk amongst us who have the same physical body. And when we look at them, we think they are human beings. but they are not, because they don't have a soul. Everybody is talking about, he is soulless, he doesn't have a soul, or she doesn't have a soul, or whatever it is. But people don't really understand what it means. It doesn't mean that you are good or bad. Mind you, I mean, they are relative terms anyway. But it doesn't mean, it only means that the macrocosm is not connected to them. And they actually rely upon their experiences on Earth. And they don't have memories, they don't have past lives, they don't have a lot of knowledge coming through from the universe, because the knowledge as an energy can only get to the mind.
And I think possibly most importantly, they experience things very differently in terms of emotions, which
So,
is which has a great impact. And I think a lot of times when people say, "Oh, he's heartless," it's a very interesting thing, because, as you say, people are as good as bad,
yes,
which is very true. So I think people have this weird misconception,
yes,
but at the same time, I think when we talk about people being soulless, it just shows lack of emotion and lack of compassion, or rather understanding the other side, or the other side of the coin, really. So yeah, that's an interesting thing, that soulless just purely means, in my view,
yeah.
unable to experience deep emotions.
Yeah. But that's not really the case, obviously. That is living in our mind, because that's how we can imagine. But somebody, a physical body who walks around, can speak and can do things, and even without soul, of course. Um, Even if it wants to, can sort of learn emotions and how to experience certain things in life. However, the most important is that they cannot think as deep as the people with souls. The mind doesn't work, because if there is no soul, there is no mind, only brain. And with the brain, you only know what is your experience on Earth, or what you can see with your physical eyes, and you cannot use your senses behind the curtain, like the third eye. The third eye is actually the bundle of the five senses being sharpened to a certain stage when you can see beyond the veil, we say, but behind the wall. And these people cannot do that.
So this is where the importance of interrelations comes in.
Yes, yes. It is very important, because I mean, the interrelations of with energies is your life, actually. That is the only thing we do here, to learn from these interrelations. And of course, experience and see how to solve situations, and look at obstacles and sort of solve them nicely and everything. So those are experiences human beings need, because that is what we do on Earth, actually, to learn, to experience from our emotions, compassion, or uh, any kind of interrelations of energies, and that adds to the knowledge of the soul. So the human body dies at the end, but the soul lives on, and it carries on with the experience added to it from this.
I wonder, because I am very interested, how how come that some of us have souls while others don't? What how does that happen?
um,
Just very briefly, because I was thinking that if I wonder, probably our viewers wonder as well.
sure, I am sure, yes. Um, well, first of all, uh, up to about 1972, almost every so-called human being had souls. But mostly it was due to the um, afterlife, and regressions and coming on again and karma. So reincarnation. So we had to actually come here again to get rid of all the residues we left the previous life, and it was very important. I give it one more sentence, mostly because it is related to the ghosts, what we are always talking about, the ghosts.
I knew I had to ask.
Yeah. So the idea is that at the end, and we always talk about the end of the road and the final judgment and God knows what. Yeah, actually, there is a final judgment. Mind you, nobody's coming and judging you and saying, okay, you were this and that and whatever it is. But if your soul is heavy um, with regrets and sorrow and all kinds of slow energies, then your soul cannot go through the magnetic field of Earth, and it would stay here because it is heavy. It's physical stuff. Stays here and tries to remedy the situation, tries to sort of heal everything, whatever it missed in life, and it actually sort of wanders around without a physical body, obviously, because there is no physical body anymore, and that is a ghost. That is something sort of related to that. But 1972, because Earth was quite sort of heavy from the karma and from the slow energies we put in it, the hatred, the wars, killing, sorrow, and ignorance, the biggest matter. It's been sort of, I would say, decided, but I don't get into that who decided what, because it would take me 2 weeks. But I would say it was decided that reincarnation would be stopped and the souls would be cleansed when they leave Earth. So they don't have to go through reincarnation again to actually cleanse their karma, but they just go up there where they came from, and that's it.
Does that mean that at the moment there are no ghosts on Earth because all the souls were cleansed to be able to pass through to the Shambhala?
Yes, almost. It is almost true. Not many ghosts are around. What we consider ghosts nowadays, they are different types of organic energies, sometimes from the universe, sometimes souls come through just to visit here and there, and it can happen, but not many ghosts are around anymore. However, I have to come back to the previous sentence when I started to talk about the soulless people as such, meaning that after 72, because souls didn't have to come back to reincarnate, uh, there were not many souls anymore who wanted to come down here to learn, because Earth is a school where souls learn. There are few more places like that in the universe, like the Pleiades, you know, I mean, we've been just talking about it because they sort of gathered with the moon together in one courtyard. It was beautiful and everything, 2 days back or so. But the point is, because they don't have to, souls can choose to come down here or not to come down here. And if there are no souls coming down here, or fewer souls to come down here, babies are still born, you know, because people want children. But there are no souls to fulfill the demand. Then actually they might just end up nurturing almost a robot, but I mean a bit of um, a half human being rather than a human being. It might be easier actually to deal with it because they don't have emotions, they don't have, you know, they don't remember anything, they don't have, usually they don't um, um, throw tantrums, or they might all the time because they learned it somewhere. So, you know, they can be tamed, and it really depends on the parents how they tame those children to actually sort of secure their future in the society or within the family also. And these people are very easy to sort of turn, you know, and they just go with the flow. If somebody says to them, okay, you need to do this and that, then they go without thinking because they don't really reason. They just take the road, you know, and it works very well for the powers of today because they wanted people with no mind, no knowledge, uh, who could be tameable and sort of uh, look sort of governable and you know to leadable as such, and they can actually work as and behave as robots like the soldiers today in Israel. I mean, come on, what do they do?
What can we do to make Earth more appealing to souls to come?
Nothing. It is, well, it is not a marketing situation. Mind you, I don't think it would be the uh, wish of the ruling parties because they really want people with no mind whatsoever. That's for them. That's very good. Uh, However, it is not up to us as humanity at large, but we need to sort of make Earth a bit appealable, like you know,
Yes, that's what I meant, of course.
like raising its energy, you know, and dealing with our life better and understanding ourselves more. Uh, Understanding, first of all, that um, we are interrelated and we have to experience life together. And we need to care for each other. That is very important, that we cannot live our lives as individuals because it is not possible anyway. So we have to understand that our deeds are actually leaving our comfort zone. Either we like it or not, they go because the energy goes, and they are going to sort of filter into other people's life and other people's mind, and their life is changing just as much as ours, or even more.
Yes, I think there is certainly a reason why capitalism pushed individualism, so to say,
Yes, of course.
to
Yeah,
take you out of society
yeah.
and weaken the matrix and our sense of responsibility for each other.
Yes, I mean, the key word is responsibility here, really, because at the end of the road, we don't really consider being responsible for ourselves, let alone others. But at the end, you know, with our deeds and even thoughts, we are responsible for everybody. And we have to understand that. What is going on in the world, it's all our doing. It's not the politicians doing, because we shouldn't give up our responsibilities of looking after our own lives and to choose our own lives and to make it better. So the idea is, if we want the souls to come down, we need to sort of spread this idea on earth and start waking up. The woke and waking up is different. It's not the same stuff, because woke is just as floating as everybody else around it, you know. We are not floating.
It is interesting. Whomever you ask what it means will say, well, I'm not entirely sure, but it is along these lines.
Yeah.
It keeps on changing as well.
Yes, of course, of course. This kind of behavior comes from the USA, because they started it up, saying that everybody has the truth. It is your truth and it is mine truth, and then whatever. And we respect your truth and mine truth and everything else. No, you cannot do that. You cannot possibly do that, because it is floating, and from floating you cannot live your life properly. But then again, you see, now the United States of America is learning firsthand what I am talking about, because now they started to understand what is going on in their lives. You know, the floating business, giving up responsibilities, being individual and not caring for others, not being interested in what the politicians figure out for them, give up the power of choosing, you know. Now they started to understand that. And it is very good, because if Earth goes on like that on this road, then we would be uh, in a very nice position, and we would sort of pave the road towards the golden era, where we are now, actually, astronomically. But unfortunately, the aftermath of the old era is killing us because still wants to sort of hang on to the power. But
Yes, I think that responsibilities and taking responsibilities again tie together very closely with making decisions.
yes, of course.
I think often people think that if they don't make a decision, that they are not responsible. However, not making a decision is a decision because it equally has consequences. And
Sure.
as such, it is indeed your responsibility. So it is a very tricky situation that one can't escape.
Yes, it is one of the great catch-22s of life. But we have many, 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 many. And that is something we need to learn on the road also, of course, and look into the situation, learn about it. You cannot possibly understand life for yourself without consciously learning about it. And consciousness is a key word also. You cannot just do it on the surface. You really have to understand what it means and how we get on with life and what we have to do here, apart from sort of enjoying it. Mind you, I mean, it is very interesting. People think they enjoy life if they don't take responsibilities and they just float. It's not enjoyment, it is only existing. Enjoyment is in living, and you can only live if you are part of something, you know. Don't even start up with me. I can tell you extraordinary stories about that because it is just unbelievably beautiful and good. And if you are searching for happiness, you definitely have to do that because the joy of being part of the whole lot and you can make a difference in it. It's incredible. So you have to do that. Well, beautiful people, I think I talked enough today. Thank you very much for Rita's curiosity. That was really good. We'll see you next week with something. I have no idea what, but I am having all those themes, you know, from my students and people around. So I will say what we'll be doing.
Jojo,
Yes.
before we say goodbye, just a last question, because I know that there was a crucial point for many people
Yes.
who said, should we be scared of ghosts? And I think you partly answered that we don't really have many ghosts. But just to be very clear, if you could answer that question.
Um, uh, because nowadays we don't have many ghosts. It's almost not possible really to find a ghost that wants to hurt you. Mind you, it used to happen because depending on the trauma the soul is having, living in between two words, you know, it is very, very frustrating. So they usually used all their might to make noises and to do stuff because they wanted somebody to help them. I remember back when I started to teach and started my life on this road, of course. Then I had a lot of assignments uh, for actually sort of catching ghosts and sending them back to the universe because they didn't know how to go back to the universe. You cannot get back there unless you are light enough to be able to go through the magnetic field of the planet. And to become light enough, you need a professional to sort of raise your energy level and you become lighter and be able to escape. However, as I was saying, we have a lot of other things from here and there and from usually not from the universe, but from our thoughts, because our thoughts are organic energies also, and they have a creative power. Can you imagine what goes through people's mind? And it is all live around us.
Maybe that's next week's topic.
So, guys, That's it. But I wouldn't care for any ghosts or wouldn't be afraid of ghosts any longer. That's for sure. Have a wonderful day. Take good care of yourself. All the wonders. See ya.